one thing that we really want to instill in Vigo is neutrality and calmness. Just to be clear, you know, when we take him to other people's homes or when people come to our home, once he's relaxed, people are very welcome to play with him and welcome to kind of have at it with him and have a great time with him. It's just in particular that greeting and that goodbye that we care the most about. The reason for this is that what we don't want to do is teach Vigo that when the door opens and someone walks in the door, that it's playtime and that it's time to bark and jump. And I know that a lot of people get a dog specifically to get that greeting when they come home from work or from wherever. But the difficulty is, I think, twofold. For us as a couple who's thinking about kids, we've seen friends get a dog and then have to give the dog away when they have a baby and the dog is barking every time it sees someone at the door and it's waking up the baby. So we want to make sure that he is compatible with baby life as much as we can. I know there are things that are out of our control, but as much as we can influence it, we want to be able to influence it. The second reason for this is for his separation anxiety. A big driver of separation anxiety, my understanding, is when you hype your dog up when you say hello or when you hype them up when you leave. Ideally, you want them to be in a neutral, relaxed state when you're leaving and when you're entering. And sometimes that means sacrificing the fun welcome that, you know, it feels so good when a dog welcomes you like that. I know, I get it. But ultimately, it's not best for him when you're gone, because then if you leave the house for an hour or two, your dog would be at a higher propensity to cry and to feel that separation anxiety. So that's really why we are very mindful about how people greet him and how people leave him. And it's hard because we also don't want him getting center of the world syndrome where, you know, of course he's a puppy, everyone wants to play with him and touch him and be with him. And if you reinforce that the dog is the most interesting thing at any point in time, when they grow older, they will be confused because they're like, well, why isn't everyone treating me like I'm the best thing since sliced bread anymore? And they'll crave that attention. So we want to try and nip that in the bud from the puppy stage. In terms of when to introduce people to your puppy, this is just our experience, but the research that I did around best practice for the first day, week, month with your puppy was that you want to have a ring-fenced period of time between like 3 days to a week where you say, okay, the puppy's not going to leave the home, no one's going to come into our home, we're just going to help the puppy get used to our space and us as his safe people. Reason being that the puppy's gone through a lot of change, right? It's probably their first time away from their litter mates, their first time away from their dog mom. And that was a big driver for us saying, okay, for the first 4 days, we're not gonna have people over and we're not gonna take Vigo anywhere. We really just want him to settle and learn that he's safe. And this was hard because of course we had family and friends being like, oh, when can I meet the dog? And we just had to say, look, we're taking a few days just to help him get used to our space, and everyone understood. Everyone's actually been super understanding. The harder thing has been with strangers. Coming back to my point around, you know, not wanting him to bark at people at the door, I want to be able to take him anywhere and to have him not expect to play with any dogs he sees or not expect to play with people he sees. So we're really trying to nurture neutrality with people that we see in the street. But I'm super strict when it comes to allowing people that I don't know to engage with him. I've actually asked kids in the elevator. I've asked men at the park to please not pet him or engage with him. That can make me feel like a really bad person, but I know that it's what's best for him. Because again, what I don't want is for him to be pet by everyone who sees him or to be blown kisses at by everyone who sees him. And then he grows up expecting to be the center of the world and expecting to get to play with everyone and everything he sees. We want him to be able to go anywhere and just chill out and play when it's time to play. There's a time and a place, right? And I think there's definitely an element here around what kind of dog do you want? Does it bother you if you end up with a dog that's running across the street to greet everyone? And you might say no now, but I want you to really think about it. I think that having a dog that is more engaged with his surroundings and doesn't have that impulse control, at least for us, would make it less likely that we'd want to take him places. Also, you know, there's an element too where trying to cultivate that neutrality in him has meant that we haven't taken him everywhere that we probably could have. We had a kid's birthday party yesterday in the park, and that I definitely could have brought him. Other people brought their dogs. My nervousness was that there were a lot of kids under the age of 3 there, and I could just imagine in my head the kids running after him, pulling his tail, pulling his ears, and I also don't want him to get a bad association with kids. So the way that we're introducing him to kids, for example, is by taking him to parks and having him watch kids from a distance. When he meets kids, we do it in a very structured way. We make sure that we're there and that the parents are there and that everyone, that it's a small group, you know, that he's not just like free roaming with 100 kids around. So yeah, we're doing everything that we can. This is kind of the rationale. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm very mindful that I don't know that this is going to work. his little personality has a lot to say about it too. We're just doing our best to try and help him grow into a dog that's confident and that can go to different situations and be in different places and be a good Samaritan, as I call it. But let me know if you have any questions. I'm sure other people will have more to say about this in the comments. So if you have any tips and you're a dog professional or just another dog mom, drop it in the comments. Yeah, let me know if there's anything else I can answer about this. I hope it helped.